Okay, so it looked like the court case between COPA and Craig Wright, it is nearing the end. I want to ask you all the question: will Craig Wright prevail? Will he win? Will he be coined the Satoshi Nakamoto of the Bitcoin white paper? Or will he lose the case against COPA? We have a couple more weeks before that decision will be made. So I just want to get your opinion. Is he the real Satoshi Nakamoto? A lot of things has occurred thus far within this case that would kind of lean towards the opposite direction of saying that he is not Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, throughout this whole court case, this trial, he's been saying that he's been set up, that people are out trying to get him, that he's been hacked. Like, all of these unfortunate things has occurred to him. But why? Why is he the only one stating that these negative and unfortunate things happen to only him? When you're the only man standing on those premises, you got to ask yourself the question, well, is it true? Because there's nothing else substantiating what he is claiming of him being set up. But that's what he thinks. The biggest trial of Craig Wright's life, the self-proclaimed creator of Bitcoin, is less than 2 weeks from its conclusion. On Friday, the eccentric computer scientist testified for the final time in an attempt to convince a judge that he wrote Bitcoin's white paper as Satoshi Nakamoto. Wright is defending against well-capitalized plaintiffs, the Crypto Open Patent Alliance, and is fighting for his right to sue Bitcoin developers and influencers for using what he believes to be his intellectual property. Will he win? How will the courts decide his fate? Now, you have Craig Wright and Calvin. Both of them are partners. I guess they're friends. Are a litigious duo whose careers has focused on intellectual property. In courts across the globe, they believe that they are defending the real Bitcoin, a hard fork called BSV, Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, against the more valuable and widely adopted Bitcoin. So he ran out and created another cryptocurrency called BSV, stating that that's the legitimate Bitcoin. But when you look at the price chart for BSV, unfortunately, is not trading like Bitcoin. Here, Bitcoin is currently at $66,884. Go to the BSV market on OKX. It's on at $109. That's it. And this is the recent history on OKX all the way from 2019. People ain't using BSV. They value Bitcoin. The market has already decided Craig's fate in this regard. They value Bitcoin more than they value his cryptocurrency BSV. But apparently you still have a community of people who like BSV. There's nothing wrong with that. If there's a community of people who value this currency, then have at it. But the market has already decided that they value Bitcoin and not BSV. Unfortunately, this article goes on to say, the trial, which is taking place in London's High Court of Justice, the most powerful copyright court in the world, has it improved investors' sentiment toward BSV? Since the trial began at the beginning of February, BSV is mostly unchanged in value relative to Bitcoin. Indeed, it goes on further that over the past 5 years, BSV has lost what? 90%, not 9%, not 0.9%. It lost 90% of its value in Bitcoin terms. So let's see. Look at that. 90% of its value in BTC. Crazy, isn't it? Like I told you, the market has already decided what it values. It values Bitcoin. The Rolls-Royce building. The Rolls-Royce building trial has been underway since the beginning of February. This week, most of the courtroom is adjourned on an intermission of sorts, with 4 weeks of court proceedings to digest. There are a few events on this week's docket. Final oral arguments or closing submissions are slated for March 12th through the 15th, and a final ruling could arrive as early as this month in March. Lay it to rest. It'll be finished. It'll be done. And if COPA wins, Wright will be enjoined by the Supreme Court of 180 Berne Convention countries from asserting copyright and authorship claims over Bitcoin's white paper. He has to shut up. He'll have to be quiet. He cannot go out and continually sue people claiming that he's a fraud of writing this Bitcoin white paper, which describes the technology underpinning a now $1.2 trillion crypto. In the eyes of the public, the ruling would be one of the most definitive statements from a court on whether Wright is or is not Satoshi. Now, this has been his whole premise throughout the trial, is that he has been framed. For years, he claims his enemies planted evidence that will fool or be used against him. Who are his enemies? And why is he the only one stating that he's been framed? Where's the evidence? Because apparently it hasn't been set out in this trial that specific individuals has been setting him up. But he's the only one trying to explain from the evidence presented that that's the reason why it was done to him. Difficult to explain evidence is, he claims, the act of hackers, incompetent cypherpunks, and cryptographers, and his enemies who sabotage his computers, servers, and personal possessions over the years. So I guess only negative things and unfortunate things happened to Craig. That's pretty much what he's saying. All of this negativity happened to only him. Everyone has it out for him. Really. When he's the one that first came on scene claiming that he was Satoshi Nakamoto. If he understood that people were setting him up for years and trying to frame him and hacking him, then why did he just stay quiet and play the background? He's the one that brought himself out front to the world. But now he wants to cry and say that he's been set up and framed. Make it make sense. So yeah, I just wanted to do this video because I wanted to get your perception as to who you think is going to win in this trial. Will it be COPA, or will Craig Wright be vindicated as being the Satoshi Nakamoto? Now, from what I've seen and what I've read from articles, I don't think he will win. I don't think Craig Wright is going to win in this case, even though he states that he's been framed and set up and hacked. There's a lot of other things that has happened within this court trial that he could not answer, that he could not prove. But we'll see. Let's give it time. But go ahead and give me your thoughts while you're at it. Make sure you maintain the profitability. And as always, trade different.